Everyone, welcome again to this video segment. Before I begin, I would like to say a shout out to all the mothers. Happy Mother's Day. Today we will look at systems of linear equations, and we will be concerned with consistent systems. What do I mean by consistent systems? Systems that have distinct solutions. Okay, systems that have distinct solution. Okay, I want you to recall, if A is a matrix with elements A11, A12, A21, A22. Remember, in matrices, A11 means element in the first row and first column. A12 means element in the first row and second column. A21 means element in the second row, first column. A22 means element in the second row, second column. So we see that determinant A, in some textbooks you write it as det A, determinant A, or you can represent it like this. This will be the determinant of A11, A12, A21, A22. And don't worry about this, we will soon begin to deal with numbers. So it will be kind of simpler. So this will be, remember, if we want to find the determinant, we have to multiply this A11 times A22 in this order, minus this, minus A21 times A12. So if we have something like 2, 1, negative 1, 0, and we want to find this determinant, this will be 2 times 0, right, minus negative 1 times 1. Remember, I had to put a parenthesis here because of this negative. You should be careful about it. So this will now be 0 minus negative 1. And that will give you 0 plus 1, which is 1. So these are the kind of ideas we need before we go ahead to solve the linear systems using method of determinants. I would suggest you also watch out for more videos on this that will deal with inconsistent systems or that will deal with dependent systems. Okay? For this tutorial, we are concerned with only consistent systems. Okay, we can go ahead and start. The first one, we have 8x plus y equal to negative 16. You can call this equation 1. And then negative 3x plus y equal to negative 5. You can call this equation 2. Now, one good thing about this method of determinants, one good thing about it is that it is very easy. It is very, very easy. Some people call it the Cramer's rule. In some textbooks you see it as Cramer's rule. But it's pretty much easy. I prefer it to substitution method or elimination method or graphing method. I prefer using the method of determinants. So the first thing you have to do, make sure that the coefficients are arranged in order. Make sure that the coefficients are arranged in order. Okay? Now, the first step, ensure that all coefficients are properly aligned. Properly aligned. Now, what do I mean by this? You see, x, x, y, y equal to result. Okay? Now, we see that if we look at we have that x coefficient is 8, negative 3, y coefficient is 1, 1, and then the result coefficient is negative 16, negative 5. So, make sure it's always arranged. X, y, and the result. Okay? Because when we come to some question numbers like like number 8, it's not properly aligned. So you need to align it very well. Or number 6, it's not properly aligned. You need to align it very well. So make sure that all the coefficients are aligned. Now, the next thing is to write out, the second step is to write these. Okay? You write out the matrix of coefficients. Matrix of coefficients. Or what we call coefficient matrix. What we call coefficient matrix. So we have this as 8, -3, 1, and 1. These are the matrix of coefficient, or the coefficient matrix. Then the next thing is you write the matrix of the variable. Matrix of variables. Of course, we have it as x and y. Okay? Matrix of the variable. The two variables we have. Now you see x comes first. X corresponds to this coefficient and y corresponds to this coefficient. Just like saying x, y. Then the next thing you need to write is the matrix of the results. Okay? And this gives you -16, -5. So we now express it in this form. Okay? Express in this form. Write in this form. We now have 8, -3, 1, 1 times x, y will give us -16, -5. You now have to express it in this form when you get it. Now this is a 2 by 2 matrix. And this is a 2 by 1 matrix. Okay? Of course, if we look at whether a matrix can multiply, the conditions for multiplication of matrices. This is a 2 by 2, this is a 2 by 1, and of course, 2 is here is equal to 2. The number of columns of this first one is equal to the number of rows of the second one, and the result will give you a 2 by 1. So we expect to get a 2 by 1. But we are not going into matrix multiplication, okay? But if you write it in this order, you see that it still conforms to the multiplication. All right, and when you actually multiply this, it gives you back this system, because this is 8 times x plus 1 times y to give you -16. That's equation 1. Then -3 times x plus 1 times y to give you -5, equation 2. That is a matrix multiplication. So we're just trying to reorder it before we now use the determinant method. So we now have this like this. We can go ahead, after writing this, you can now go ahead and solve it. So we write this in the coefficient form, xy equal to -16, -5. So our x will be determinant. In place of the coefficient of x, we place the coefficient of the result. In place of the coefficient of x, which is 8, -3, we place the coefficient of the result. So this is -16, -5, 1, 1, all over determinant, the coefficient of the matrix of the coefficient. The matrix of the coefficient, 8, -3, 1, 1. That is our x. And guess what our y will be? Our y will be determinant. We still write the 8, -3. In place of the coefficient of y, we place the coefficient of the result. -16, -5, all over determinant of the matrix coefficient. Coefficient matrix, 8, -3, 1, 1. So this becomes that x will now be equal to -16 times 1, -16 times 1, minus, remember what we did earlier on, minus -5 times 1, all over 8 times 1, minus -3 times 1. You see? So this becomes what? Negative 16 minus negative 5 all over 8 minus 3. So this becomes negative 16 plus 5 all over 8 plus 3. And that gives what? Negative 11 over 11, which is negative 1. So our x is negative 1 already. Our x is negative 1. You see how easy it is to just find x. And we can find y pretty much easier than that. And it won't take us time now. We find y because we already know that this will be 11. So y will be 8 times negative 5 minus negative 3 times negative 16 all over 11, because this gave us 11. So y will now be negative 40 minus 48 all over 11. Right? So y will now be what? So y will be negative 88 over 11, and y will be negative 8. So we have that our x is negative 1 and our y is negative 8. Do we stop here? No, we don't stop here. We have to do what? Check. Just like I have always taught you to check your work. If it is anything that is an equation, you need to check your work to make sure the left-hand side and the right-hand side are equal. Now, for this case, we will check to make sure that it is correct for the two equations. We have to do that. So, we now have, let's check for the first equation. Our x is negative 1, our y is negative 8. 8x plus y is equal to negative 16. We have our left-hand side, right-hand side, just like we've been doing it. Here 8x plus y, here negative 16. You plug it in, 8 times negative 1 plus negative 8. So negative 8 plus negative 8. Negative 8, negative 8, negative 16. It worked for the first equation. Let's do that for the second equation. It has to work also. Negative 3x plus y equal to negative 5. Left-hand side, right-hand side. Left-hand side is negative 3x plus y. Right-hand side is negative 5. Now let's plug it in. Negative 3 times negative 1 plus negative 8. So this is 3 plus negative 8. 3 minus 8, and that is minus 5. Left-hand side equal to right-hand side. Worked. So this is pretty much easier, if you ask me, than substitution and elimination and graphing, and even row reduction. The next video we are going to work on row reduction. Students have a lot of trouble understanding it, but I'm going to break it down. So do you understand this? Let me know your thoughts, whether you understand this. Now let's look at some more problems. We might not do all of them. I set it up so that you can finish it. You solve it and you check it. If you don't get it right, then you can contact me. Okay? Let's do some more problems. We just did number 1. We can do, let's do number 6, whereby it is not set correctly. Okay? Negative 14 is equal to negative 20y minus 7x, and 10y plus 4 equal to 2x. You can call this equation 1 if you want to, equation 2. It doesn't really matter. Now, if you look at this, this is not well arranged. Remember I said it should be properly aligned. It is not aligned. You see, this is a constant, and this is a variable. So it's good, let us align it. Okay, let's align it so that x will be together, y will be together, which will give us the resultant, the result. So let's align equation 1. From equation 1, we can align this. We can rearrange. If we rearrange, that means let's make the left-hand side to the right-hand side, And let's make our right hand side to be our left hand side. So this will be negative 20y minus 7x equal to negative 14. And then rearrange this. This will now be negative 7x minus 20y equal to negative 14. Now, another person might come and say, no, let me leave it like this. Let's say another way. Let's have another way. You can do it. You know, somebody else might say, no, I want it this way, for y to come first. Okay. You can always want it for y to come first. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to solve it two ways. You will still get the same thing. So let me call this equation 3 because I've arranged it. Now, let me arrange equation 2 also. We have 10y plus 4 equal to 2x. If I have to arrange it so that x will line up, I can rearrange. And if I rearrange, I have that 2x is equal to 10y plus 4, right? And I can now bring this over here. So 2x minus 10y equal to 4. And I can call this equation 4 because I've rearranged it. So I'm going to use equation 3 and equation 4 is now well aligned. X and x, y and y, result and result. Guess what? Somebody else might say no, that he wants y to come here. So if you have y to come here, this is 10y plus 4 equal to 2x. You have to rearrange it. 10y minus 2x equal to minus 4. You want to use this and this. Okay, what you want to do is to make sure that anything you use, it should be rearranged. So you can use it this way, negative 20y minus 7x equal to negative 14, and then 10y minus 2x equal to negative 4. I'm going to solve it again this way. For those who want y to come first, it still doesn't matter, provided you follow the sequence. And for those who want x to come first, we have it this way. Negative 7x minus 20y equal to negative 14. And then 2x minus 10y equal to 4. Alright, now let's start with this way. We write down the coefficient matrix, negative 7, 2, negative 20, negative 10, x and y, to give us negative 14 and 4. Right? So we now see that x will be determinant, negative 14, 4, negative 20, negative 10, all over negative 7, 2, negative 20, negative 10. So let's go ahead and find our x. So our x will now be what? Negative 14 times negative 10 minus 4 times negative 20. All over negative 7 times negative 10 minus 2 times negative 20. So x will now be 140 minus 80 all over 70 minus 40, which is now 140 plus 80 over 70 plus 40, right? So our x will now be 220 over 110. And that implies that x is what? 2. Our x is 2. Right? And since we found x, finding y is as easy as. So we can go ahead now and find y. What do you think our y will be? Y will be determinant. What do you think it will be? Determinant what? Negative 7, 2. And you replace the coefficient of y with the result coefficient, negative 14, 4. All over what? All over the same thing here, which is what? 110. You see, I don't even need to write it again because I know it's all over 110. So this will now be what? Negative 7 times 4 minus 2 times negative 14 all over 110. So our y will now be what? Negative 28 minus negative 28 all over what? 110. So y is what? Negative 28 plus 28 over 110, right? And you know what it will be. 0 over 110, which is 0. So our y is 0. So our x is 2 and our y is 0. Okay? Now, before we check it, let us do it this other way. Because someone else might say, no, I want y to come first. Okay. Provided you arrange it, it will work. So if you want y to come first, you now do it this way. 10y minus 2x equal to negative 4. Remember, it must be properly aligned. I always stress this. It has to be properly aligned. So this will now be negative 20, 10, negative 7, negative 2. Then y and x now. Y and x, not x and y. Because y came first. Equal to negative 14, negative 4. Right? So this will now be what? Y will be equal to determinant negative 20, 10. I'm sorry. This is for y, so you replace it with this. Negative 14, negative 4, negative 7, negative 2, all over determinant negative 20, 10, negative 7, negative 2. Right? So y will now be negative 28, of course. If you multiply this, this will give you negative 28 plus minus negative 28 minus negative 4 times negative 14 times negative 2 is 28. I'm sorry. Negative 14 times negative 2 is 28. Then minus negative 4 times negative 7 is 28. And I don't want to confuse you, I can just write it out. Negative 14 times negative 2, then minus negative 4 times negative 7, all over negative 20 times negative 2, minus 10 times negative 7. Okay? So, if we finish that, we now see that y will now be 28 minus 28 all over negative 20 times negative 2 is 40 minus negative 70. So y will be 0 over 40 plus 70. Y will be 0 over 110 and y will be 0. Just like what we got for y in the other. Yes. Okay? Then, let's now, and you can now find your x. It's pretty easy. You can find your x pretty easy. So, our x will now be determinant what? Negative 20. Now, x is now with this. Negative 20, 10. And for this, you replace it with this. Negative 14, negative 4. All over what? 110. Because there's no need for me to write all this again. So that will now be x equal to negative 20 times negative 4 minus 10 times negative 14. And if you want, you can put parentheses in all those, that's fine. All over 110. So x will now be 80 minus 140 all over 110. And x will now be 80 plus 140 over 110. X will be 220 over 110. And x will be 2. So our x is 2 and y is 0. What do you do next? You just check. When you check it, the same way we've been checking it is the same way we check it this time. The same way we check it. When you check it, you have negative 14 equal to negative 20y minus 7x. You have to check with the main equation. If you want to check with the main equation. Don't check with the modified equation. Check with the main problem. So left hand side, right hand side. Left hand side is negative 14. Right hand side is negative 20y minus 7x. So we just plug it in. Our x is 2 and our y is 0. You just plug it in here. Negative 20 times 0 minus 7 times 2. 0 minus 14 minus 14. The first one worked. Let's check the second one. 10y plus 4 equal to 2x. Left hand side, right hand side. So you have that the left hand side is 10y plus right hand side is 2x. You now plug it in. 10 times 0 plus 4. 0 plus 4, which gives you 4. And for y, 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4, 4, you're good. So that is the way we solve all these equations. Okay, I would like you to try some on your own. And I want to add another equation here. Assuming you have something like this. Let's say you have an equation like this. X plus 2y equal to negative 1. And then you also have that y is equal to let's say you have that y is maybe negative 5, right? Assuming that you have that y is negative 5 and x plus 2y equal to negative 1. Now, in this case, you can easily substitute, right? You can easily substitute to find x, because 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Negative 1 plus 10 is 9, and x will be 9. But what if you don't want to use substitution method here? What if you don't want to use substitution method here? If it is incomplete, if it is incomplete, you can still solve it with determinant method, like this, like you have here. You can solve number 12 with determinant method. If you have x plus 2y equal to negative 1, and then you have y to be negative 5. Okay? What you have to do is just, you can now put this, rearrange this, you want to put something here. So if you call this equation 1, equation 2, and I will say from equation 2, we now have that y is negative 5. You can put 0x plus y equal to negative 5. You can have it like this. So when you have it this way, x plus 2y equal to negative 1, and you have 0x plus y equal to negative 5, you can now do it 1, 0, 2, 1, then xy equal to negative 1, negative 5. You do it like this and you solve it. And you get the same answer. I'm telling you, you get the same answer. We already know that y is 5. If you solve it like this now, you will get the answer. Alright, students. Another thing they can ask you is, they might tell you x plus 3y to be negative 2 and x to be negative 4y. Assuming I call this number 12, you can still use the same approach to do this. I mean, even if it's incomplete, just like you did this one, if you had this, you can still use the same approach to do it. And when you solve it, you will still get the same answer. When you check it, it will work. X plus 3y to be negative 2 and x to be negative 4y. So all you need to do is you still rearrange it, make it to be properly aligned. So x plus 3y to be negative 2. Then you now rearrange this to be x plus 4y equal to 0. Now, x plus 4y will now give you 0. So you just rearrange it. If it is incomplete, like in this case you see it's incomplete, x is missing, and I put 0x, right? And still solve it, and it will still give the same thing. And if it's here, the constant is missing, you put 0 for it, and you still rearrange it. And this will give you 1, 1, 3, 4, xy to give you negative 2, 0. And of course, you still do the same thing. You still find your x, you still find your y, and you substitute it, and it will give you the same thing. Okay? Alright, students, I will still leave these questions because I'm going to teach row reduction method in the next video. So I will do some of these questions. For this determinant method, I know I did question 1 and question 6. So for the next video, we will do some other ones, okay? Thank you so much for listening, students. In my moment of conscience, I want to say this, and I want to say it, I mean whatever I say. Today is Mother's Day, and I thank God. After God, the next person to my heart is my mom. I thank God that I am alive today, thanks to my mom. Now, my mom shows something, I am alive because she shows something. She shows life. That was what she shows. She shows life. Okay? And that is why I'm living. Let me write this in uppercase letter, because that is important. Okay? If you are listening to me, or if you are viewing this video, if you can hear what I am saying, if you can see me, okay, your mom made a good decision as well. Your mom shows life, because that is why you are alive today. Now, we don't have power over life to take away life. We don't. I mean, I understand troubles might come, or things might not work out the right way, or okay, something terrible happened, okay, and I might be ashamed to give birth to this kid or something. I mean, life is not perfect, okay? Life is not a bed of roses. I know, I understand, and I understand that I am not a lady, because some might say, okay, because you're not a woman, you don't know what women feel. Okay, you are not the one carrying the baby. You don't know what happened. You don't know, something might happen. Okay, what if this happened, or this happened, or what if, there are so many things that can happen. To be honest with you, ladies, I understand that. I'm telling you, and I sympathize. I pour out my heart with you all. It's not easy to carry somebody for 9 months. It's not easy. I respect that. But whatever might be the case, to be honest with you, you need to choose life. The decision is not yours to make. Allow the baby. He's a baby. If you say it's a fetus, it's a baby. If you allow it, it's going to be a baby. There's nothing like it's a fetus or it has no life. No, it has life. Allow it and it will mature. Please, your mom made the good decision for you, and you can see me, you can hear me, you understand what I am saying. Please make a good decision for other people in your stomach. Please, let us not waste life. Abortion should be off the point. Pro-choice should be off the point. It is not a matter of choice. It is a matter of that you're wasting life, you're killing life. And I might seem to be smiling, but no, it's serious. I might seem to be smiling, it's serious. That's a matter of conscience. Think about it. Somebody chose life for me. Let me choose life for my kids. Let me choose life for, once you notice you're pregnant, is a baby. No matter the stage, there's nothing like 1 month or 2 months, or is a baby. Now let's get the definition right. So please, I am appealing to every one of you mothers, please, future mothers as well, ladies, because ladies, we hope there will be future mothers as well. Please choose life all the time, choose life is very important. Let us not waste life. Let us not do abortion, please, okay? And thank you so much for listening, folks, and you have a great day, and watch out for other videos as well. All right, bye.